am in the house, and where are you? So welcome, welcome, welcome. It is a lockdown, a level up number 10, and I am coming at you from central France, locked down in a little house. Well, I say little, this is the biggest house we have been in. We are house sitting in rural France. We are in the middle of nowhere. It's 10:10 European time, Central European time, and yeah, 10-day streak. So big level up, round of applause for me. So if you are new to the show, make sure you are familiar with letting us know where in the world you are. Would be great to hear from you and tell us where you are. We've had guests on the show from Mexico, we've had guests on the show from New Zealand, we've had guests on the show from USA. We've had lots of comments coming from the UK, from France. Coincidentally, that was, but yeah, would love to hear where you are and what lockdown looks like. So yeah, use the comments. Now, what else have you got in the comments? You should also see that we have a Join Now link, and that is provided by our friends at Skype. So you don't need a Skype account, you just need to use that link on the screen and you can join the show. So I've just discovered, I don't know if I can show you this, I'm just going to do a quick share the screen. And I have just discovered on Skype that, so this is the Skype thing where I have a Meet Now meeting going on, and I've just discovered in my Skype preferences, so if you've been on the show the last, you've seen that, right, you'll see that in notifications, contact comes online notification, and yesterday, until a few minutes ago, that was switched off, so I wasn't getting notifications when people come online. So okay, so there it is. That's what Skype looks like behind the scenes. I'm just going to go back to Ecamm Live and bring myself back up. Okay, yeah, so if you go to that URL, you can come on the show, and we would love to see you. And I just realized, so I also need to do something else. So what's happened, we've discovered since I've been leveling up with this software, I have to pause my playback because I have the broadcast coming at me from Chrome, YouTube, and what happens is there is a delay. So as I'm speaking live, but YouTube is broadcasting it, I would say 1 to 2 minutes afterwards. So in the background, I've just heard the beginning of the show. So I've just realized I've actually got 2 browser windows open, so I need to go to that one and pause that one. Okay, let's go back to Ecamm. All right, remember, if you are new to the show, where in the world are you? We'd love to hear from you. Where in the world are you? What does lockdown look like for you in your country? What's happening? How are you enjoying your confinement time? How are you putting it to good use? Tell us what it's like. And if you want to come on the show, yep, remember you can come on the show by clicking on the Skype link, which you should see in the comments. Now, actually, this is all part of an experiment. You know, Level Up Live has come about through a number of factors. It was quite spontaneous, but we're on to show number 10 now. So, hey, big round of applause. But yeah, it didn't just happen. It was I created a pretty short notice, but there was a few factors that sort of brought that to life, and I'll tell you about those in a minute. So, but yeah, it's not about me. I want to hear from you. I'm leveling up my challenge to myself that I've been putting out there is that I've been showing up on live video, because that was something that was a bit it wasn't uncomfortable for me to come on camera, but to sort of just get used to my software. I'm kind of a systems guy, and if I haven't got it dialed down, I sometimes can procrastinate. So I was like, no, enough's enough. I got to get online, and I got to go live. And I already had a subscription to Ecamm Live, which is the software that I'm the software that I'm using to broadcast to you via YouTube. It lets me go live on YouTube. But you know, some of these things like switching to the where in the world are you, things like that, these are all controlled by Ecamm Live. And so I challenged myself to rock on up to this platform and to see what I could do with it. So everything I'm doing is a bit of an experiment. So if you saw the beginning of the show, you might have seen me sort of just putting my earphones in, playing the sound effects. It's all an experiment. So and I want to, it would be easy, like it's 10:10 here, and I've only just got out of bed because I go to bed to put my daughter to sleep, and then sometimes I'll fall asleep and I'm exhausted at the moment, but I'm like, get up, get ready as best as I can, but I'm not trying to perfect everything I'm doing, and because I want the experimentation to take place live in front of you as an example of how I'm making myself vulnerable to learn something new, put this time to good use. And I'll explain all of this. It was inspired by several factors that came together, but me being here is my own attempt to level up and get better at live broadcasting. So in front of me now, so I'm kind of off at a bit of an angle. You can probably tell I'm in a kitchen. So as I say, so first of all, I'm Colin Clapp. I'm from Parenting Passports and Profits. So I'll just show you, these some other things we can do. We are when I talk about we are a location independent family. That is me and my lovely partner Ellie, and our two young girls. One is 6 and one is 15 months old. And we have been full-time traveling family for just over 3 years, most of which has been in Southeast Asia. But literally, lady luck and serendipity shined on us, and we brought forward plans to come to Europe when we applied for a house sit. It was very much a spontaneous thing here in France, not expecting to get it. We were in the Philippines at the time, so this is sort of February, maybe back end of January, February, and we applied for it, and we got it, and it brought forward our plans to come to Europe by about 3 months, and we're so grateful that that happened, because we've landed in a beautiful house with lots of space. We got 2 acres of garden to look after and run around in. We're in the middle of nowhere. We're surrounded by just 4 neighbours. There's no village. The village is 4K away. There's nothing in the village except a bakery, open 5.5 days. And the nearest significant town, small village, is maybe 20K away, and that's where we get our groceries, etc. So we're in isolation, even if we weren't in isolation. So we feel very blessed to be here. So yeah, if you want to find out more about myself and the family, head on over to Parenting Passports and Profits and learn a little bit more. Feel free to reach out. So yes, where was I? So I am taking this opportunity to level up, and in this time zone, it's more about put my children to bed and then come down and come and be there available. And I'll come and explain why all that's going on. But I wanted to just show you a few things. If you've been watching the show regularly, you kind of know that I've been playing around with a few things. I've got so I'm broadcasting to you through the software on my MacBook Pro. It's an old MacBook Pro, but it's handling things. And actually, one more thing, guys, one more thing, also so important. If you are on, can you give us a like? Let us know that, let YouTube know that you don't want that one. let us know that you are liking the show. So give us a like, give us the subscribe to the channel, and click that bell notification, and we will be very grateful for that. Let YouTube know you're having some fun with it, and we'll give a bit of a party noise. And I love it. Yeah, look at that. Woo-hoo. Who is in the house? So yeah, let YouTube know you're in on the game. And yeah, it's a casual show, kind of like a drop-in talk show, radio show. Hey, we've had plenty of people on, and I can show you some different things. And so if you've been following the show, and you'll know that I've been trying, as part of sort of my leveling up on using this platform, I've been trying to bring in a camera. So inside this little Kathmandu box is a Canon EOS camera. And on Wednesday night, I had the two cameras set up, and I was able to flick the Canon on, and could see that it was possible. But I did that probably about 40 minutes into the show. Shows usually run about an hour, and initially, as the camera came on, it looked quite grainy and blurry to me. And guys, I'm going to let you know, if I look at the screen now, I see quite a grainy shot. No, we haven't got great lighting. We're just in a regular kitchen. I think that's why I went off on the tangent. And I was like, well, that's all I've got at the moment, and that's what I'm going to work with. So work with what you've got. You know, if you're leveling up, work with what you've got. So that's what I'm doing. And I wanted to play with the camera, got it working. From my end, it looked like it was pretty grainy and not significantly different, but it did give me an opportunity to play around with the platform and see what was possible, and think, oh, maybe in daylight it might work different. If I could get a better lighting setup, it might work different, etc., etc. And I was really excited, but the show came to an end, and then so the thing we noticed, and I got some feedback, I could see for myself, not only was it wasn't particularly any different from the what I was seeing on the screen from the FaceTime camera built into the MacBook Pro. The camera seemed to be on some autofocus, so it was focusing, and I'd move and it would focus and refocus, and it wasn't making for a great viewing experience. But the reason I'm telling you this is because perception isn't always reality. And the following day, I found out from one of the viewers that the camera apparently was much better. The lighting came through significantly different on the camera. And so that got me really excited to bring the camera on right from the beginning. Now I knew that it worked. So yesterday, that's what I did. So if you were watching yesterday, you'll know what happened. I had the camera all set up, ready to go. So I've got the computer off of an angle here, because just to, I don't know, everything's kind of mirrored. Just to my left is a small coffee table on top of the kitchen table, and I can place the camera about this high right in front of me. And I did that yesterday, all ready to go, switched it on, and the camera didn't work. And I couldn't for the life of me think why. All I'd changed was the autofocus setting, and it didn't make sense that the camera, you could see the camera come on, but it was not enabled. So it's like a grey option. Now, that doesn't mean too much to you, but it's called a source. So the camera is a source. So I've got one source, which is the built-in camera, and once the new camera gets plugged in, it gets plugged in by USB, and it's automatically seen. And it was seen, but it was grayed out, meaning somehow there's a setting in there that the software was not happy with. And I thought I'd overcome this in the past. So to see it grayed out again, having had it work the night before, was very frustrating. And I was kind of quite deflated, because I thought that was like another leap that I could take with the broadcasting, and I could take the professionalism up to another level. And I was looking forward to next week, which, by the way, I'm going to stick with this time for next week. And so over the weekend, I will schedule all the lives for next week, and we will take the show to a new level. We will see what other experiments. I've been watching some of my mentors and inspirations do things, and I'm like, right, why don't I try that? So that's what we're going to do. Anyway, back to the story. The Canon couldn't get it working, so I abandoned it last night. We had some guests on the show last night, so most of the show was taken up with our lovely guests and moved off. But it was only after I came offline that I realized that during the day yesterday, not only did I change the setting of the autofocus, Ecamm Live, the Ecamm Live software also made available I guess a significant upgrade. And I didn't think too much of it. I just saw there was an update. I saw the things that were covered in the update, and there was a few little nice bells and whistles. And I thought, oh, yeah, I'm ready. I'm preparing for the show. I've got time. I can put the software on. I didn't think anything more of it. So, of course, last night it dawned on me that maybe the update has got something that's just not come over, and because there is some finicky things with the camera settings that dictate whether it works or not. So anyway, on a more positive note, I reached out to the Ecamm Live people. They're an awesome team, young twins in the States behind the company, but really great guys. Don't know them personally, but I've seen some of their own videos. And anyway, I reached out to them on support, and I just got a message literally 10 minutes before I came on tonight, where they've given me looks like a beta version. So a bit I'm missing out. I went into the Facebook group and I saw that I wasn't the only one who looks like he's got this problem. It couldn't be 100% sure, and because I'd changed the setting on the camera, I was like, well, was it me or is it them or whatever? So, with all these things, you have to eliminate things and try and test again. So I'm telling you this story not for it to be the most interesting story ever, but just to sort of say, when you're pushing boundaries, when you're stepping outside of your comfort zone, things are going to go wrong, or your expectations are going to fall short. And so, but you've got to push on. You've got to push on through those, and then to have the owners come back to me and say, here's a potential solution. Can you test it out? And now some people might go, what do you mean test it out? Why should I do that? But this is the software industry. This is the 21st century. The online world is moving all the time. Every online player is updating, upgrading. It is a constant treadmill of test and measure. So for Ken to come back to me with that message directly on support and say, could you try this and let us know if it makes a difference? I'm like, yeah, of course I can. I'd love to do that. It's not mission critical software, and I can always get the original update back. So anyway, I'll put that out there. That is just part of the journey. So why don't I take this opportunity to backtrack about why Level Up Live is here. So remember, if you just come onto the show, if you're just watching, if you're new, please introduce yourself. Where in the world are you? What does lockdown look like for you? I'd love to hear from you. We've had people come in from all over the world. Please leave a like. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. My camera has... What's going on now? I hope you can still hear me. I just got thrown out my own computer. Made me log back in. So hopefully that didn't disturb the show. But yeah, where in the world are you? Love to know what lockdown looks like for you. Please introduce yourself either in the comments or come on the show. We have a URL down there in below my name. We have that URL pasted in the comments. If you click that, you'll kind of go into like a virtual room, and you can come on the show and tell us what you're working on. Introduce yourself and your family. This is a family-friendly show. My kids are in bed, just gone to sleep. 6-year-old and a 15-month-old, but yeah, it's like 10:30. we rarely get them down before 9:30, and then kind of fall asleep sometimes with them and get up, come do the show. So family friendly show, but you could be waking up in New Zealand. You could be waking up in Australia, maybe really early in Australia. I would get that. But maybe you are afternoon tea in America, having a lunchtime break, or early evening, depending on what time zone. UK, you're probably bedtime as well. So a few of you are probably doing exactly what I'm doing, putting someone to bed. But yeah, depending on where you are, bring your kids on. On the first show, my own daughter came on and showed us how she was leveling up with her artwork. So we'd love to see you and see your kids. And it's meant to be a fun show. Remember, yeah, if you come on, we get the old DJ L in the house, and everyone gets a big round of applause if they come on the show. Yeah, it's meant to be a bit of a fun party, and the more people join in, the more fun we will have. It is we live in incredible times, and although these are incredible events that are around us, which I'm going to get to why the show exists. But yeah, if you're new, yeah, remember, give us what happened there. Yep. Give us a like. YouTube loves that. If you could do it on the comments or in the chat, love to get a like. YouTube likes that we are appealing to you. And if you don't like it, tell us why and see what we can do to improve things. So I'm leveling up using this software. This is my goal to myself, my challenge to myself. How can I get better online video broadcasts? And the only way I can do that is to get out there, try, experiment, make myself vulnerable, make mistakes. So that's why I was telling the story about the camera. So yeah, over the weekend. So we don't go live on Saturday and Sunday at the moment. Monday to Friday. At the moment it's 10:10 Central European time, and next week I'm going to go with the same. So next week I'm going to go with the same. So I'm going to schedule all of those, but I'm going to try. So remember, I just said the software owners of Ecamm Live, they've been in touch with me. They've said they've got with the update that I updated was just a few days old. So maybe I was just a bit premature in jumping in and trying it. So they've given me a test version. I believe I'm not the only one with this problem with the camera not working. So camera's going to be postponed. I want to do the camera. I got some great feedback from my friend Tim, who told me the camera would be a better option. And so the fact I'm not using it right now is just because the software is not letting me. So, but I'm going to experiment over the weekend and see if I can get the camera up and running. So what other experiments can I do tonight? So you've heard some sound effects, but what I'm going to do tonight is my friend Tim also chimed in with some lighting tips. So one of the challenges in this environment is, just coming at you from the kitchen in a house set, and it's just overhead lighting. It's not, it's pretty soft and whatever. So it doesn't necessarily light me up. And I was borrowing a bedside table lamp and putting it down, putting it behind the computer and switching it on and trying to light up my face. So I'm hoping you can hear me okay. I'm pretty confident the sound is okay, even though I'm using these headphones. Nothing, just these are like telephone, smartphone earbuds. First few shows I used these, again, not an expensive kit, but this is just a Logitech USB mic. I understand the sound quality through a USB is much better for things like podcasts. So when I've been a guest on a podcast, I have tended to use these, and they take up a USB port. I've got two USB ports on the MacBook Pro. One has a remote mouse attached to it and just kind of lives in there. This is the spare one and often is used for the microphone. But to get the camera working, that goes through the USB port. So I was like, all right, well, what do I do with the headphones? So I got rid of the headphones, thought I'd try these. And it seems like they're okay. As the show gets some traction and we can buy things off Amazon again, I'm going to invest in a proper podcast mic and a USB hub, and that's going to be continued part of my upskilling. So But so I'm gonna talk about why the show is here, and then if there's time left, I hope there's time left, I'm gonna experiment with some lighting using a torch and a cushion, and we will see what that looks like. Okay, so in fact, I'm gonna do first experiment right now and see what happens. Okay, watch this. I don't think that's going to work. I don't think that's going to work. But maybe there's a different way. Maybe there is a different way. That's not going to work, is it? No. That's a good tip, though, Tim, and I'm going to experiment. There are definitely different ways to light it. I found a light that, again, I think I'm going to invest in a few things that are just going to bring the show up. And I found this thing called, you can see it in my hand. I found this thing that apparently that is about this big, recommended by my own video mentors. It's called a cube. I've forgotten the manufacturer, but I get the impression it's about this big. And with us being a location independent family, small and light is critical for how we travel. Believe it or not, so we're a full-time traveling family. We travel with 2 check bags and 3 carry-ons, and that's our life. We don't own a house anymore. We've got rid of all of our possessions. There's just some artifacts like photos back at home in New Zealand with our extended family. But believe it or not, in our checked bag, I do carry this tripod. And this is a full, again, it's not an expensive one. If I ever lose it or anything happens to it, it's not going to be the end of the world. But this is a full height tripod, and this fits in to my check bag. So as I say, I don't travel with much, a few pairs of shorts, lots of t-shirts, and well, just enough t-shirts for a week. And yeah, and somehow all of our children's belongings and a mobile office. If you saw some of the early shows, you'll see that this backpack is my office on the back, and it's things like my mobile keyboard, the MacBook Pros on a raised portable stand. I got this little metal stand that I use to prop my phone up, and this bag it took me a long while to find a bag that ticked the boxes. If you want to find out more about the bag and what's in my toolkit, you can go to you can go here. Go to that page on our website, and you will see some of the tools we use. Which reminds me, if you're interested in any of the tools we use to be location independent and how we run online business, a lot of the tools we use, and I need to update that page with some new ones, but a lot of the tools we use are on this page. If you want to know how we use them, why we use them, or you want a behind the scenes look, just let me know, and in a future episode we can show you. So yeah, go there. Now let me see. I think we have some comments. Who's in the house? Who is in the house? Caroline. Oh, awesome. We have Caroline Fitzgerald in the house. Caroline, welcome. No bumps on this end. That's good to hear. So Caroline, where in the world are you? Would be awesome to know what lockdown. I know you. So Caroline is a fellow world schooler, and we met her in Chiang Mai, Thailand, about 18 months ago, I would say. And lovely lady, very beautiful daughter, and they are very experienced travelers. So it'd be lovely to hear from Caroline. Now I know she's working on something in her world. I know she's leveling up, but I will let her tell you all about it when she feels comfortable. So Caroline, yeah, feel free. You can come online. I'm just actually going to just check with Skype. How's this working? So I'm going to just start the call because, yep, cool. Alrighty. So yeah, if anyone, back to Ecamm Live. Yeah. So remember, what have we got here? Let's just get rid of you. Let's get rid of you. Let's go back to Ecamm Live. That's what I wanted. And let's bring up our scenes and and we'll just call out. Yeah, we'll get rid of that. Yeah, so if you are new to the show, where in the world are you? That's what I wanted to. And if you want to come on the show, just type in the URL down there. I've also put it in the comments, and you can just come on the show. And it's a very casual chat, and you'll see. Yeah, you'll see how it works. And I'd love to hear what you're leveling up. I'd love to hear how your family's leveling up, maybe what your children are working on. My children are in bed, so I'm not going to bring them on the show. If we change the time, I might bring them on the show, but right now. So I'm just going to have a sip of a cup of tea. Okay, so let me tell you why I am here, how the show came about, and let's see if we can help you understand what leveling up really means in a sort of light-hearted way in this lockdown times. So a few weeks ago, I was listening to my friend Martin's podcast. Martin Abonge, another inspirational guy we met in Bali about 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago. And Martin was, if you listen to his podcast, is always about how you can improve yourself through right mindset. And Martin, I can't remember the name of the particular episode, but he was talking about how in these unprecedented times, whilst there are many people like the frontline workers and the essential workers who have, been stretched beyond belief, many of us found ourselves with extra time on our hands, or certainly a different way to use that time. And he used the word impoverished. Now, I'm not too sure if he meant to use that word, and he was a little bit apologetic around it. But what he was alluding to, and I'll paraphrase, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but what he was alluding to was, now is not the time to say that you haven't got time, because for many of us, we've got more time than we've ever had. We're not commuting, we're not got to do a lot of the things, we can't do a lot of things we're used to doing. And this has given us an extra chance to work on the garden, work on ourselves. So leveling up could be just pursuing a hobby, maybe a musical instrument, maybe a language, maybe arts and crafts, or something like that. It can be a fun thing to do, but it shows that you are investing in yourself. You're taking this opportunity to use the time wisely. You're not sort of binging on Netflix or just gaming yourself into oblivion. Nothing wrong with either of those things, but the challenge was for Martin that if you get to the end of this period where you've been locked down and you haven't come out wiser or more knowledgeable about something, including yourself, you only have yourself to blame if others have moved on and are moving up and on in different ways. This is a time to put to good use. It's not a time. Yes, there's plenty to moan about if you suck in all the news and the hysteria. We are not news people. We haven't been news people I haven't read a newspaper for decades. I grew up in an environment where I saw a daily newspaper, and it was part of my life for a very long while. But we don't have a television, haven't had a television for well over 10 years. Anything we want to watch, we stream on demand, and that stops the sort of casual fill in the room with sound and visuals just for the sake of sound and visuals. So, and news can do terrible things to your mindset. So terrible things to your mindset. So totally encourage, stay away from news and invest in yourself. So that was one factor in. So I tell this story because I was listening to the podcast. I heard that, it stuck in my brain. I am a committed lifelong learner. I listen to podcasts. I struggle to read books right now. Which reminds me. We've got a little. I wouldn't say a competition going on, but if you love to know what are you reading, Tell us what you're reading. Put that in the comments. Maybe you can do a little book review. That would be cool. Come on and do a book review. Hadn't thought about that. Yeah, what are you reading? Tell us in the comments and let me know if you want to come on the show and do a book review. That would be super cool. So yeah, yeah. So Ellie and I were constantly investing in ourselves, always sort of reading in between children time, and just playing around with the sound a little bit there. Let's see if we can get that down volume. Not too sure if that's going up too high. Anyway, so when I heard Martin say this on the podcast, I didn't specifically jump on that, but it must have just sort of stayed in my brain, resonated with me, and didn't think too much more of it at the time. And then about a week later, I found myself on a Zoom call with a gentleman in Mexico, Trey, who was one of the first people to come on the show. Trey and I had not met, but we were introduced by a mutual friend. Trey, as I say, was in Mexico. I was here in France, and Trey and I are in a world schooling group, part of the World Schoolers movement. And if you have any questions around what is world schooling, please shove them in the comments, and I'm more than happy to talk about that on at any time. So we homeschool our children, and we are on the unschooling side of the spectrum. As I say, our children are 15 months and 6 years old. So one's only just kind of reached formal schooling age, but neither of them have been to any kind of school ever. And yeah, so we can tell you more about that in another episode. So, but also that means we're very much used to being with our children 24/7, and so the lockdown side of thing hasn't made any difference to us as a day-to-day family. Just means we can't go out and have play dates and mix with other people, but it hasn't made any difference to the family dynamics and what we're used to. I digress again. All part of the show. Remember, it's just meant to be fun. So come and join the party. If you don't want me to ramble, come on, tell me how you're leveling up. Okay, let me tell why Leveling Up Live is here. So, second thing. So I was introduced to Trey. Trey and I met on Zoom. Trey was trying to breathe life into a small business kind of mastermind accountability group in the World Schoolers movement. There's a lot of us who work online. That's how we sort of make our lives location independent, because we're not tied to a physical location to deliver our work. And he was trying to get that off the ground, and I was keen to get involved, but our time zones weren't coinciding for me to join in with the calls that he was trying to facilitate. But when we were talking one-to-one, I let him know that in my previous life, back in New Zealand, there was a significant period where for a number of years I actually facilitated a paid group coaching accountability group where I turned up every week and my clients paid me to facilitate their accountability. And that went on for a number of years, and it was quite intimate. Wasn't a large group, never grew to more than sort of 4 or 5 people, but over a long period of time, there was a lot of trust in the room, and that's what comes with making yourself vulnerable and accountable. And I don't do that anymore. Haven't done that for a number of years also. I did it for a number of years, but haven't done it for a number of years, moved on to different things. And it was interesting talking to Trey. I was like, well, because he was like, he said he didn't have much experience in that side of things. And so we just effectively agreed to sort of both sleep on how we could make it work, whether there was anything I could contribute. There was like, yeah, this is really cool. We've just caught up with each other, found out who each other are. And he was looking for some accountability and to provide some accountability. I was trying to join in with the group probably not even 100% sure, but I wanted to network with some other business owners in the world schooling movement. And we just mutually agreed, right, we'll sleep on this, just see where it goes, and we will continue to stay in touch. Again, didn't think too much of it. I said I would sleep on it, and that's exactly what it did. Then, of course, the lockdown started to escalate, and we started to realize the significant consequences of the decisions that were being made around the globe and what it meant for all of us in different ways, and how, whilst we might be trying to squash one problem, but we're potentially creating a whole lot more around social distancing. And it was our mutual friend. It was our mutual friend Lainey, who was on the show earlier this week, who was the first to remind me, and I'm so glad she did, that social distancing is not a very good. It was not a healthy term for us to use. And so, we're physically distanced, but we can be socially connected, and that's what many of us are relying on right now. And for some people it's noisy, but others it's like we're finding it's a great time to catch up with old friends and family using things like Skype and Zoom and Facebook messaging and WhatsApp, and we use whatever it takes to stay in touch with whoever we want to stay in touch with. And Ellie and I were like reflecting that, okay, whilst we enjoy each other's company and we're quite an introverted family who are happy in their own company, we was fully aware that not everyone, some people are missing their professional connections, their weekly get-togethers at the gym, or whatever. I used to belong to Toastmasters, network groups, and all those sorts of things, and just everything's a bit different. So as that sort of washed over us as part of that equation, I mean, we're in the middle of nowhere anyway, so even if things weren't locked down, we would be pretty isolated. Like I say, we're in a hamlet of 4 other houses, three of which are occupied. We've only seen 2 sets of neighbours. We're the only ones who speak English, and the nearest village is about 4k away, but there's a bakery, a hairdressers, and a library open a couple of days a week, and that's it. And the nearest sort of town that functions as a village or a town is 20k away, and that's where we get our groceries. And France is under some pretty strict lockdown. Our lockdown is until the 11th of May. In theory, we have to fill out paperwork, but they've now made it available online, so you can fill the form in using your data connection. You can kind of just fill it out as you go. But like many countries, it's just about, are you going out for essential reasons? You're either an essential worker and you've got to go to your place of work, or you're going for essential supplies like the supermarket, or you're going for exercise on your own, or with your household. So there's no scope to join up with other people and have play dates and all those sorts of things. But like I say, we're in a rural area, and people are used to doing it pretty hard around here, I would imagine. And people in this type of environment, they just get on and make things happen. So anyway, so I'm digressing slightly. So we were aware there was a need for connection and social connection, and so we offered ourselves up available to chat if anyone wanted to talk about anything, or just socially, or whether they wanted to discuss anything about location independent living, working online, those sorts of things. We just put our calendars up and did that. And again, didn't overthink that, just kind of put that out there on our social channels. Then there was there was actually 2 more things, and one I've already alluded to at the beginning of the show, but there was, I saw some of my own mentors in the online space and inspirations for hosting these kind of Ask Me Anything type shows or chats, and some were doing it daily, others were doing it ad hoc, and I thought, well, I could be available, and I would like to be available. And I knew I had this software, which leads to point number 5. I knew I had this software. I can do screen sharing. I can show you behind the scenes. You can ask me anything about any of the tools we use, and I can show you hands-on how we're doing it, which led to number 5. So on a personal level, it was all about live video and mainly live video. Ellie and I have been meaning to do more with our YouTube channel for a long while. We have so much content that we could put out and share, but we're not editors, and we don't know how to sort of turn it into something that we can get out there. We've sort of binge produced some content and got it up on the channel. So yeah, remember, if you are new to the channel, we'd love some support. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel, ring that little notification. We are getting better at the YouTube thing, and this time is a time we can breathe some more life into that, hopefully. But I also wanted to do live video. You know, it's when you're location independent, you know, going online is a way of networking, because you're not turning up at network meetings and going to conferences and those sorts of things. Not as easily, or yeah, maybe conferences, but other things, certainly things that happen regularly in one place, if you're used to that sort of thing. So I wanted to, and I'd invested in Ecamm Live subscription. I also belong to the Primal Video Accelerator membership group, which is helping me level up in video. And I was like, wow, now's the time. We've just finished a project to get 3 websites live. So actually, if you go to any of these sites, so this I mentioned earlier, this is our family site. You can read about us as a location independent family. If you want to know more about the online marketing that we do, done for you services, head on over here. We offer content optimization, keyword research, website reviews, including technical SEO site audits. You can find out about that all over there. And if you want to get to know Ellie, Ellie's a holistic health professional, and if you head on over to elliemcguinness.com, you can find out all about her 6 lanes of the holistic health highway. And her site was the 3rd site to go to have this major overhaul, which is another leveling up. We are not web developers. We have learned our online skills through the University of Doing, and if you go to any of these sites, I'd love to get your feedback, what you think of them. We are, as I said, we're not website developers, but if you look at these 3 sites, you'll see how we've put them together, and I'll be really curious to receive some feedback on what you think of them, what they look like, how professional they are, whether you think they have the right frameworks behind them. And yeah, if you have any questions about how we put them together, you'll see there's a similar, certainly on the home page of each one, you should see a sort of similar look and feel. So there are some themes running through these site overhauls, and I'll be happy to talk about those on another show. So back to the videos, back to the live video. So I had the subscription, I had the membership support. I was like, well, I'm just going to dive in. I am just going to dive in. And so I pretty much created Lockdown Level Up Live as my own self-accountability, factoring in Martin's challenge to make sure that this period doesn't pass without leveling up in some way, factoring in my conversation with Trey about accountability, so it's like self-accountability, and feeding it in. And Trey's been on the show, Laney's been on the show, and we're trying to think of ways we could bring this to the World Schoolers movement, and then making myself available for chat and connectivity. So we're caught up with some World Schoolers and some old friends live on YouTube. We have and we've created that Ask Me Anything. So this is why I'm very happy to be vulnerable, and I'm not trying to be, I'm not being naive about, you might not want to know about the technical setup, but some people do. But it's more about showing you that I'm learning, and I'm testing, and I'm measuring, and I'm experimenting, and of course it's all coming to you from this platform. And I'm really chuffed that some people are giving me feedback. You know, I wouldn't have known about the camera, I wouldn't have known about the sound if people weren't chiming in and letting me know how it's working. So that might seem a very long backstory as to why this show is here, but that's what it's all about. Taking all those events, mashing them up, and stepping forward and leveling up. And I invite you in a very friendly way. Come on, just tell me what you're working on. I don't care, I don't care what it is. Sing a song, play a tune, show us a picture, anything that says, I'm putting this time to good use and I'm going to come out the other side fitter, healthier, stronger, whatever. So, okay. So yeah, that's it. Remember, if you're new to the show, tell us where in the world you are. What does lockdown look like for you? Love to hear, where in the world you are, and yeah, tell us in the comments. Also forgot, if you want a website review, happy to do that. What we'll do is we'll put the clock on, and we will. So yeah, here's Ellie's brand new site. Let me see if I can. Yeah. I want to go to here. Yeah, so this is Ellie's brand new site as an example. So yeah, we can, if you want a website review, give me the URL. We will fire down the 6-minute timer. We'll go over to your website and we will start looking at your website and give you some feedback. So yeah, this is Ellie's site, brand new. It's only been live these last couple of days. There's a specific framework behind this. Maybe you can check to see whether it's mobile friendly thing, and go to different pages. Got the call to action down here. You click this, you should get a nice pop up. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. I don't know if it's. I'm on a. I might. Yeah, I know what the problem is there. So yeah, because I'm streaming at you live, I am. That's slow to load, but yeah. So if you want a website review, let's do it. Or you could ask us how we've put this website together, how this framework has come together. More than happy to help you. So yeah, that's the website review, and let's do it. Let's do it. More than happy to do that for you. So let's just go back to want to go there. Should see the comments. Yep, cool. Got that going on. Anyone on Skype? No. Back to Level Up Live. Cool. Yeah. So remember, where in the world are you? Let us know in the comments. We're going to be wrapping up in a few minutes. Love to hear your comments though. Where in the world you are? What does lockdown live look like? We're probably going to go for about 7 or 8 more minutes. So if you have just come on the show, tell us where you are, who you are, and whether you want to come on. You can. We'd love to hear from you, even just for a few minutes. Just join the show right here. Just click on the link. Or type that URL into your browser and you'll go into a virtual room, or you should be able to click on it in the live chat. So yeah, so I don't want to go and repeat why the show is about, but if you're watching the replay, you'll understand. So we're going to do more experimentation next week with the camera. I'm going to try and get that fixed. So before I wrap up tonight, hopefully someone will, if there's any comments, I'll respond to those in just a minute. But I'm going to with the time I've got left, I'm just going to do this experiment with the light. And let's see how we go with that. Could we do something different with the light? So my friend Tim gave me some good feedback, and he gave me a suggestion. His suggestion was not the torch, by the way, but it was a kind of variation, and that made me think of the torch. So as you can see, that's not really going to work. But what happens if it's kind of... Can you see the difference? So obviously I don't want this kind of torch effect going on, but yeah, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. But that torch is not going to work. What about this torch? That's kind of a softer light. That's not going to work either. So torch is not the way to go. But let me show you. Let me show you that lighting can be changed. So this one has probably come to you the darkest of things. Just bear with me just a second. So here we go. This is the bedroom lamp that has come down into the kitchen, and I've just been plugging this in, and it just sits in front of me behind the computer screen. So at the moment it's in front of the computer screen. It's just off. There you go. So it would be back a bit, nearer you, but watch this. Tell me that made a difference. It's a pretty soft light. It's not a hard light. Let's... No? Oh, mate. I would have thought that. Yeah, see the difference? See there, that would make a difference, but I'm holding this at a funny angle, so yeah, there you can definitely see. So that would make a difference, and that's the sort of thing I'm experimenting with. So over the weekend, I'm gonna try some different lighting solutions. So I can't buy what I want at the moment. Amazon doesn't. Yeah, Amazon's not sort of delivering. But yeah, that shows you I can make a difference with the lighting. So I will play around with that, and I'll play around with the camera and the Ecamm Live software, and hopefully we can get you a better experience. I hope you heard all of that. I believe you did. These earbuds are not. There's nothing special about these earbuds, but I do believe they act as quite a good microphone, even when they're not plugged into my ears. So apologies if I've screwed up the final few minutes. So, okay, so it was awesome to have you here. I do hope that you enjoyed the show. Remember, it's just meant to be I'm making myself available, I'm making myself vulnerable, invite you to level up with me in any shape or form. Even let us, like I said, let us know what you're reading. Maybe you can give us a book review next week. Show us what you're reading and how you're learning from that and growing from that. And that would be absolutely awesome. So on that positive note, I am going to wish you a marvelous, marvelous weekend. If you're just waking up, enjoying your morning tea or coffee, enjoy your day. If you're mid-afternoon and just about to head out on for a bit of a run, enjoy that. Or if you're a bit like me and probably getting ready for bed, then enjoy that too. So awesome to be here. I challenged myself to step up and do this, and I'm going to give myself a round of applause for making it to 10. And over the weekend, I'll get all next week's shows scheduled in, and we can go from there. So wrapping up now. Take care. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.